Dark Productions. RP on the beat. Big Dusty and Lil Krusty could never touch me. Ain't talking about their looks when I'm saying it get ugly. Getting straight to it since they diving in that water. I know they see salty, wishing they never started. Big mouth niggas go back under your little rock. You dust blowing niggas would've been in that big house. I'm big cat, no cheese, but trapping a little mouse. They rolling up their roaches with not even a little cough. This real shit, niggas need to focus on their illness. Priorities, all fucked up more than a little bit. Lil bitch, only thing you smoking is a grill pit. I'm the type to leave a nigga choking on his feelings. The good guys, but we roll like death row. Lethal injections to anyone anti-afro. In case I miss the name, I split the block, you know how that goes. Just sharpening my skills, my flow is just real cutthroat. They don't really want it, they scatter their own shadow. Wanna see how other men look, now tell me that ain't rainbow. You gon' either swim or sink, cause we ain't in the same boat. And I know that they delusional, thinking that freestyle. Wish you well and give you hell at the same time. I give them life and take a life in the same line. Real stingy with my shit, can't nobody take mine. Real pretty with the blicky, better walk a straight line. Don't ever question my greatness, this is by design. Cut them up in their own shop, then charge them for my time. Penny pitching niggas only buying by the dime. Come across a half a bag, they swear it's a gold mine. Then retired, make the pad, he cheering the cold sign. Smooth booty niggas stricken dollar stole wine. Make them clowns go ghost, they ain't wanna go online. We your favorite nightmare, this is the good guys. The good guys. RP on the beat.
When there's no enemies within, the enemies outside can't hurt you. Today is the day you once and for all kill your enemy. The enemy within you. I'm talking about that voice in your head. The voice that says, no, you can't. You can't do that. You aren't good enough to accomplish that. You will never reach that level. The voice of doubt. You're going to kill that voice. You're going to kill that son of a bitch once and for all. You're going to lay him to rest.
Sometimes the enemy is also on the outside and close to you. Sometimes the enemy comes with good intentions. Sometimes a family member or a friend is the enemy. They may think it is in your best interest to let you know you shouldn't chase that crazy dream you have. They might think it is in your best interest for you to have a safe life, an average life. I think we both know you are far from average. You have to let go of your enemies. It might be hard, but it is much harder living a life less than your expectations. Sometimes you have to show them that despite their good intentions, they are wrong.
Fuck my enemies, fuck all of my enemies. Whole lot of people trying to rob me out my energy. I don't ride waves, fuck you thinking. I'm the type to make them, you gon' float or you gon' sink it. I got bars in real life that I ain't ever been behind. I go hard in real life and leave my business offline. See how I got my name soon, just give it some time. Ball talking, no other option, looky, this is the grind. How I be killing shit, get a glimpse of my criminal mind. They softer than cake, plus we living in times where motherfuckers will flake at the drop of a dime. Getting funky when I flex and I be dropping them bombs, yeah. Fuck my enemies, fuck all of my enemies. Whole lot of people trying to rob me out my energy. I don't ride waves, fuck you thinking. I'm the type to make them, you gon' float or you gon' sink it. I don't ride waves, little bitch, I make my own. I don't ride waves, little bitch, I surf alone. We gon' run down on all my enemies. Tryna rob me out my energy.
Look, I don't ride waves, fuck nigga, I provide them. Red need a verse, I said tell nigga I got her. Feeling like Pac, ambitions of a rider. Machiavelli style, nigga, I won't deny it. Check it, black, disrespected. Head hanging out the window, you looking like pet detective. Act up, when we mob through, you better back up, bitch. Make it make sense. I rap a lot, should've signed with J Prince. And I know you niggas envy me, ain't on my nuts, middle finger to my enemy.
Fuck my enemies, fuck all of my enemies. Whole lot of people trying to rob me out my energy. I don't ride waves, fuck you thinking. I'm the type to make them, you gon' float or you gon' sink it.
Look, I don't ride waves, fuck boy, I surf alone. I don't ride waves, fuck boy, I surf alone. I don't ride waves, fuck boy, I surf alone. I don't ride waves, fuck nigga, I provide them. I don't ride waves, fuck nigga, I provide them. I don't ride waves, fuck nigga, I provide them. Red need a verse, I said tell nigga I got him.
Snedded Great, Louisiana. You did.
Propane,
Philly in the motherfucking building.
it's the captain.
Ha!
Yo, if you got a problem with me, come and see a nigga. Fuck your music, fuck your album, fuck a feature, nigga. I spit that crack and let it ring, beady, nigga. Y'all been eating long enough, stop being greedy, nigga. Check my background if you pussies don't believe me, nigga. Timbo's, Air Force, or my Adidas, nigga. I love a real bitch, I don't fuck with divas, nigga. All these Franklins remind me of Aretha, nigga. You can try, see you when I see you, nigga. Meanwhile, I'm on the beat sipping mojitos, nigga. Taking over Joe Clark, I'm Morgan Freeman, nigga. Hot shit, I make your bed an orthopedic, nigga. Check your face with my knife, that's graffiti, nigga. All these angels by my side guard me from demon, niggas. Though I walk through the valley amongst these evil niggas, I rep my city where I'm from with my peoples, nigga.
Why you got a problem with no say, bitch? You been got passed around like a hot potato, bitch. I been done flashed out, foul mouth, flagrant and shit. I touched down the cause, hell ain't no saving the bitch. Hopscotching on your face and then I take your pick. Retaliate or equalize, the decision is split. I do what I do, then I look back and reflect what I did. Be composed to their comments and then I'm snatching up wigs. No hard feelings, fuck your friendship, can't take that to the bank. May know your street way I had sprouted up, ain't none bit the same. I'm in the mirror practicing to tell them, run me my land. Feel what I'm saying? I do this for my people, bitch. From where I'm from, I am my people. To sum it up, you ain't my equal. I grew up by the coolie, make know your street, rest up Tito. Right where I'm from, I am my people.
Philly in this bitch, New York in this bitch, Detroit in this bitch, Cali in this bitch, Texas in this bitch, DC in this bitch, Orleans in this bitch, hold up.
Lafayette up in this bitch, and if you run up, get done up. My little peoples was out that Jackie shit from sun up to sun up. Let me shouldn't not say too much, cause that's how niggas get caught up. Take your mama, I done did it if she died for her daughter. Get your mama, get your daddy, it is nothing, drop the edit. Pull up talking shit, I swear to God, you better back it. Yeah, they automatic and they swiftly make a hazard. Anything can happen, I snap and they start attacking. Plenty of times tackled the tactics and sent them packing. Anywhere around the globe, we gon' bring the action. East Coast. Crusty could never touch me. Talking about their looks when I'm saying it get ugly. Getting straight to it since they diving in that water. I know they see salty, wishing they never started. Big mouth niggas go back under your low rock. You dust blowing niggas
Woo! Peace, everybody. Peace, peace, peace. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Y'all, this is our 11th Step in the Ring edition. And boy, do we have a good one tonight. Y'all, this means a whole lot. And this is like a rarity, a real rarity where we have two sectors cross over each other. So for one night only, y'all, I'm the Tony Khan of this shit. I am the forbidden door. I am the forbidden door where I'm going to have two people from two different sectors collide in a pro wrestling debate. I see a lot of people are in the chat. Y'all, we are almost at 80 people in the building. 80 people are in the building so far. Y'all, go ahead, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your cousins, wherever it is. Y'all need to come in here and check this debate out. Now, this debate means a whole lot because I come from not only the Umar sector, but I come from the pro wrestling sector. I've been part of the pro wrestling sector since 2007. And for those of you who may not know who I am LV. I used to be called LV5454. The Be Accountable channel is my non-wrestling channel. And as you guys can see at the very bottom of the screen, my other wrestling channel, Wrestling is Lit. So if you are a pro wrestling fan, go ahead and hit subscribe to Wrestling is Lit. But enough about all that. Before I get to why you guys are all here, I got to do some shout outs real quick. I got to do some quick shout outs. I want to give a shout out to Nada Great. Nada Great has been part of the whole songs for this debate. Her link's in the description along with her mixtape link. Give a shout out to Propane Oaklane. He's another rapper from Philly who was also part of these songs. Go ahead and check his stuff out. It's in the description. Big shout out to Red Pill. He's the one that been doing the production. Go ahead and check out his Twitter. That's in the description. I want to give a shout out to Binary Code. For those of you who are not aware, the title of this debate is, oh dang, I got sidetracked. But the title of this debate came from Binary in one of the most classic sound bites in the Umar sector. We tried to tell him. That came from him. So for this big debate, I had to use that sound bite because it really says a lot about this particular debate. So go ahead, check out Binary Code. And also, too, guys, I have JustAlyx's link in the description. Go ahead and check his channel out if you're not familiar with JustAlyx. Same thing with D.Derell and D.Derell Life Solutions. All those things are in the description. Go ahead and check all that stuff out. Now, with all that being said, tonight's debate is between the godfather of the Umar sector, D.Derell, taking on one of the most notable names in the pro wrestling sector right now. And for those y'all who are old school, I used to call him the Lex Man. A lot of y'all may know him now as JustAlyx. I've been knowing JustAlyx for the past 10 years, and I will give you guys a little bit of a throwback just to show y'all how long I've been knowing Alyx. So stay tuned for that. Now, the topic of discussion is going to be, are today's pro wrestlers soft? This came off of the heels of The Undertaker being on the Joe Rogan podcast. He had a lot of things to say about today's pro wrestlers, and that's where we are at now. That's where we are at now. So what I'm going to do now is, for those of y'all who are not familiar with Step in the Ring, let's check out the tail of the tape as soon as I get rid of this banner so y'all can see it. Here we go.
In the paper, put my problems paper, dial up the deputy, mad at my brown problems in the paper, put my problems paper, dial up the deputy, mad at my brown problems in the paper, put my problems paper, dial up the deputy, mad at my brown problems in the paper, put my problems paper, dial up the deputy.
All right, so that is your tale of the tape. JustAlyx is making his first ever Step in the Ring appearance. D.Derell is making his second ever Step in the Ring appearance. Also, I want to give a big shout out to the judges for tonight. I want to give a shout out to Duke CT. Duke CT has been an OG. He's been a day one for me ever since 2007. I've been knowing this guy for 14 years. He is a big avid pro wrestling fan, so he's definitely in line for the job here. Also, I want to give a shout out to Speak Easy. Speak Easy, He's pretty much a guy that's watched old school wrestling, but he is very, very open-minded. And last but not least, we have Ghost. Ghost is our third judge. Ghost is more of a mixture, I guess you would say, of old school and new school. He's from the Philly area, and he's a big fan of the original ECW, in which he has attended many ECW events back in the day. So big shout out to those guys judging this debate tonight. Now, for those people who are new, I'm making it clear, I don't have mods in my chat. So I'm letting y'all know, for y'all wrestling fans that's in here right now, think of this with a mixture of ECW, XPW, GCW, and CZW. It's basically no holds barred in the chat. So I'm letting y'all know right now, if it gets a little bit crazy in there, you guys know why. So I'm just letting y'all know that. Now, without further ado, let me go ahead and do the introductions. First, I want to introduce a man who is known as the Godfather. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. D.Derell. Oh, snap. Here we go. What up, D? What up, D?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man? I'm excited to be here, man. Excited.
Yeah, man. I'm excited. I'm excited for this, man. I'm very excited. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to introduce a man whose resume speaks for himself. This man has been doing content on pro wrestling for the past decade. This man's mashup videos has appeared on WWE's YouTube page. This man has a following. This man has a name. I've been knowing this man pretty much since the very beginning. And I pretty much told y'all that I have a little throwback because I know him as the Lex Man. But today in 2021, he is simply known as JustAlyx.
Log on complete. Welcome to Lex.
Yeah. I bury all you boys like the Undertaker. Come at me and you gon' let me make you meet your maker. You can't see me like John Cena. I'm a genetic freak like Scott Cena. My bad, Steiner. You want to stay underground like Chili and miners. I want big lights and pyrotechnics. So proper flow. Young generators, I'm a stone cold killer. You can call me too. Man, boy. I be bossing, plus I'm on the edge like the rated R superstar. I'm a young lion like Cinnamon Roar. Working hard, always handling my business. Like my name was the meanest. I'm the best ever. I know what's off for y'all to beard. I'm the king of the mountain.
Oh man, that was a throwback.
Oh boy, you took it back, ladies and gentlemen. We in the building. I hope you guys are having a good time. I hope you guys are sit back. I hope you guys are relaxing. Because we's about to get this baby on. D.Derell, hey, let the best man win.
I feel you. Let's do it.
Oh, man,
All right, guys. Now, before we get started, we have 105 people in the building. So, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and hit your Cash App. If you guys want to support D.Derell via Cash App, $Derell77. If you guys want to support JustAlyx, hit that Cash App, $ANH1990. We have 106 people in the building. This is one of our biggest debates of all time. So go ahead and support these brothers right here and right now. Now, as far as who goes first, so with D.Derell, since you're on the affirmative side, I will go ahead and give you the privilege of going first with our opening statement. And again, for anyone out there that's new, our opening statement is 3 minutes max each. So this is just an opening statement. So with all that said and done, let's go ahead and ring the bell. All right, D, you got 3 minutes.
Okay, guys. First of all, I want to thank you for having me in here today. So my point is that I'm going to talk in the affirmative of why the wrestlers today in the modern day era are not as tough as the wrestlers of old, or the old school type wrestlers. So what I'm going to highlight today will pretty much illustrate the fact that when you look at what wrestling was back then, I'm talking about in the early 1900s, the 20s, the 30s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, how wrestling has evolved over time. What you will find out is the fact that the wrestlers of yesterday had far more issues to deal with. The culture of wrestling was totally different. The rules and regulations were different. The constraints in which they had to operate under was far more difficult, far more, far more difficult to deal with as far as the day-to-day culture of wrestling. I'm talking about the scheduling, the traveling, the lack of pay, the personalities you had to deal with, the abuse, the physical, psychological abuse that you had to deal with as far as with management and ownership and so forth. These are the type of things, not saying that these things don't happen today, because you can look at that in respective of any wrestling organization, including the WWE. However, when you look at things such as in Mid-South Wrestling with the abusive behavior of Bill Watts and others, particularly in certain promotions, is no way in hell these wrestlers today would deal with it. Better yet, Hulk Hogan, even one of the toughest wrestlers, one of the best workers of all time, in my opinion, refused to work for Bill Watts. So if one of the most successful wrestlers ever could not deal with someone such as him and other different certain promoters and so forth, I know damn well a Roman Reigns couldn't do it. So we're comparing and contrasting the wrestlers of modern day today as opposed to those of yesteryears. The bottom line, the money wasn't there, the travel, actually the jobs today, the wrestling as it is today is far more successful, far more lucrative and so forth. They have far more privileges and things that they can deal with that the others basically paved the way so they could have an easier time. And so the essence of my argument is going to highlight the issues, the trials and tribulations, the everyday trials and tribulations that the previous generation of wrestlers had to endure, which is something I think that they psychologically today and physically would not deal with. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go to JustAlyx. You got 3 minutes.
Thank you for this, guys. I'm gonna just keep it simple. When we think about professional wrestling, there are many names that come to mind, but the one that sticks out amongst the rest is the dead man himself, The Undertaker. You know him. 3 decades of destruction, WrestleMania streak, legendary feuds, world championships, and without question, a Hall of Fame career. So you would think a man of such stature would have nothing but a wealth of knowledge to share for the younger generation to come. Sadly, that's not the case. Undertaker may be considered the GOAT, if not one of the greatest of all time, but that does not exempt him for saying dumb things or just straight out being wrong. As a wrestling fan for over 2 decades now, I've seen the best that this sport has had to offer, and I can confidently say this generation of wrestlers are the furthest thing from the word soft. In fact, I believe this modern generation of wrestlers not only has a higher threshold of pain tolerance, but has also developed a new sense of mental toughness that allows them to endure the hardship of this business known as professional wrestling. So the very moment the word soft left the words of Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker, I instantly shook my head. I thought about Jim Cornette and his Mud Show Wrestling podcast. It's just that old school wrestlers, they just can't let it go. Well, it's about time we young folk let them know that the new school is here to run the show. Because we all know deep down, as good as Taker is, he couldn't do half the moves or take half the bumps we see nowadays. And today, I make it clear once and for all that the dead man is dead wrong, and today's wrestlers are not soft. Thank you.
All right, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, we got big news just in the opening statement. Our peak was 130. So this is already the highest rated debate in Step in the Ring history already. You guys need to stop playing and hit that Cash App for both these two men that's coming in here trying to entertain y'all. Go ahead and hit that Cash App for D.Derell, $Darrell77. Go ahead and hit that Cash App for JustAlyx, $ANH1990. Y'all, we have shattered the record for the highest rated debate already, and we haven't even gotten to round one yet. So big ups to everybody for coming out here. So with all that being said, guys, we are now going to go into round one. So this time, for those of you guys who are new, round one will be 5 minutes instead of 3. So let's ring the bell. All right, D.Derell, you got 5 minutes.
Okay. So as I'm listening to his open statement, I've already felt like he's already has made some mistakes. See, we're not debating who is the most skilled wrestler. We're not debating who can do a somersault flip and do all these other different risky moves and so forth that probably do require more skill. The question is, are they tougher? They may be more skilled. Yes, they may know 1,000,001 holes, such as Dean Malenko and others and so forth. They may be more scientifically sound, technically sound. But as far the bottom line is that one of the reasons that the pro wrestlers of yesteryear were tougher is because they had less skill. I would agree. The wrestlers today are far more skilled, but they're not tougher. And one of the things I'm going to talk about is when you look at the genesis of wrestling. Wrestling started out real. In case my opponent didn't understand, it was real. There were 3 and 4 hour matches in which they were putting the very holes that we see today, and some of those that have been banned. They were using those holes for decades, up until about the 1930s and 40s, in which they decided to simplify the format of wrestling and make it 10, 15 to maybe 20 minutes long, therefore, and come out with a winner, so to speak, a scripted winner. And I think that we have to understand that those wrestlers of that time in the earlier years, the early 1900s and on up, were far tougher because they dealt with more day-to-day pain. The wrestling of then was longer, and then they decided to make it shorter. Also, you have to look at the traveling schedules. The traveling schedules of people wrestling multiple wrestling matches in one day, wrestling every day. Some of these wrestlers didn't even have a day off. If you look at the wrestlers today, WWE obviously has the most grinding, I would say, schedule. They wrestle about 250 days, but and even others, they're not wrestling 5-6 days a week, and sometimes multiple times in one day. There were wrestlers that were traveling 300, 400, 500 miles just to get $50 to $100, as opposed to people who are getting $20,000 to $30,000 a match and more. It's no way that we can compare and say that those wrestlers of today are tougher. They're not tougher. They're more skilled. And that is a difference. And I expect that everybody in the chat could understand that difference. Let's look at it. How many wrestlers today could wrestle a 60-minute match like Ric Flair, who was known as the king of wrestling those type of matches? I don't even think the wrestlers today have the stamina to withhold that type of pain that is being afflicted among two different wrestlers going at it. Okay? Also, the wrestlers of back then didn't have the type of medical treatment that the wrestlers today have. They had better treatment, better ways to treat their illnesses and injuries that they had. And many of these wrestlers were wrestling when they had no business wrestling. They were wrestling when it was detrimental to their health, and it was also detrimental to their psyche and their mental status. And see, that's the difference nowadays. And I'm not saying that the changes that were made were not appropriate. It's just that those wrestlers in previous generations had to endure that as it relates to at that period of time, as opposed to now, which they have a much better system to function under. They have way more rules and regulations. There were wrestlers back in the day, many of these promotions, these independent promotions, didn't even have mats on the outside. They were going off of top ropes and swinging and hitting concrete. As you know, in most pro wrestling organizations of today and promotions, they have mats across there. They have basically the fences and so forth. Everything's fenced out for the crowd and so forth. All of this stuff is matted and padded and so forth. The technology to build wrestling mats and rings of yesteryear were far more harmful to the body of wrestlers as opposed to today. Even though I may say the mat itself is still hard as hell, but it's nowhere near what it was in the past.
All right. So we're going to get to JustAlyx. You got 5 minutes.
Well, first, let me just start off by, of course, thanking D.Derell for being here for this debate. And what you just did, man, you made me change up my plans a little bit. I was going to save this argument for round 2, but since you want to bring in this argument, I'm going to hit you with it now. I'm going to name you a list of wrestlers, list of legends. Dynamite Kid, Brian Pillman, Kurt Angle, Jake the Snake Roberts, Razor Ramon. You even say his name, the Hulkster himself, Hulk Hogan. All of these men at one point in time were tremendous athletes, doing things us regular folk could only attempt to just do in our dreams. We wouldn't even think about doing it now. For years, they put their bodies in the line, put their bodies through hell for our entertainment. So much so that in their older years, they can barely enjoy the fruits of their labor because they're constantly in so much pain. Even the simplest acts like walking is a hard task. That's why you see them turning to drinking, heroin, painkillers, all sorts of vices to elevate to alleviate their misery, a dark reality of the sport. And we consider how hard the rings were back then, like my friend said. Some described it as falling on concrete and how often they had to wrestle to make a good living. It's no wonder a lot of them end up in wheelchairs by the age of 50, 55, maybe even younger. But I guess in the fans' mind, this is what makes them tough, right? Quite frankly, I think it makes them reckless. As of today, The Undertaker, 56 years old. Think about all the surgeries he's had over the last 3 decades. Taker himself said in the Last Ride documentary that he actually lost count of how many body parts were replaced. Before knowing he's had like 17 surgeries. The poor man's body is made of metal at this point. You might as well call him the Terminator. Chris Jericho, on the other hand, who's been wrestling for just as long, concussion, no major surgeries, and he's 50, still wrestling. Why is that? How is it that people like Shane McMahon, who can dive off of a goddamn 60-foot Titantron, gets hurled through plastic panels, is still able to walk and provide for his family at the age of 51? What about Randy Orton and Rey Mysterio? We talk about legends like Stone Cold Steve Austin, who got pile drived on his head. He could only go 5 years. Now, some consider Stone Cold to be the greatest of all time, and he should be considered that. But the guy only had a 5-year career. Okay, it's not like they've never taken chairs. When you talk about the generation nowadays, it's not like they've never taken steel chair shots to the head. It's not like these guys don't put themselves through the same amount of struggle, the same amount of pain, suffer the same injuries. And let me just make it clear. I love old school. I love hardcore wrestling in particular. I always have an utmost respect for wrestlers like Mick Foley, who loved this sport so much that he literally left pieces of himself inside the ring. But as the world changes, it's our job to adapt and change with it. And it feels like the more I listen to people like Undertaker, Jim Cornette, the more I realize how stuck in the good old days these people are. The rings are softer now. Crash pads exist. Gimmick weapons are available. You no longer need to take 18 steel chair shots to the head to get people invested. You can take one chair shot to the head, take a butt with some thumbtacks, maybe fall through a flaming table if you're feeling lucky, still get you a 4-star rating from Dave Meltzer. You want to know why? Because it's not about that. It's not about taking all these crazy bumps. It's about telling a story. You no longer need to constantly fall on your neck and concuss yourself to the point of addiction. That's what happened to Dynamite Kid and people like Brian Pillman. And I guarantee you, if both of them were to have been born in this generation with our resources, their lives would have turned out a lot differently. But unfortunately, they were born during the old days, as my friend D.Derell said, which drove them to the pills and violent outbursts that they became known for. Their recklessness, the relentless ways that they took care of their bodies was just, it's absolutely asinine. But that's a reflection of the toxic business back in the day. So you'll have to excuse me. If hitting your wife and passing out from a syringe stuck in your arm makes you tough, then maybe, just maybe, we need to, use a little bit more softness in our world. Where you at? Maybe Eddie Guerrero could have used that.
Time's up, Alyx. All right, guys, that is the end of round one. Y'all, we have over 140 people in the building. If you guys have not donated to either of these brothers, go ahead and do so now via Cash App. If you want to support D.Derell via Cash App, $Derell77. If you want to support JustAlyx, $ANH1990. Also, JustAlyx's PayPal is in the description. His link to his PayPal is in the description. Y'all are just so lit in the chat. I love the synergy. Two sectors coming together. Again, the forbidden door is open tonight, y'all. It is open tonight. Now, let's go ahead and get to round two. All right, D, you got 5 minutes.
Thank you, JustAlyx, for making my point. I couldn't have made a better point from my own point of view in this debate. Thank you for making a better position on your rebuttal in favor of why wrestlers of yesterday were actually tougher. Thank you for naming all the wrestlers such as Hulk Hogan and Dynamite King, King, and so forth. All of these other wrestlers who endured all types, and the Undertaker himself, who endured so many bad injuries because the environment of that time allowed those type of moves and those type of and the impact of those moves caused those injuries. And you know what? Yes, Brian Pillman did pass away. Okay. And there were other tragedies of such as the Von Erichs and so forth, due to the fact that they were dealing with so much treachery inside the ring. So thank you. I want to thank you for making the position, because notice, everybody that's listening, he did not mention one new generation wrestler in his rebuttal to me, in his position. Everybody that he mentioned was a wrestler that started their career in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Nobody in the 2000s. Thank you once again for making my position on why the wrestlers of today, of yesterday, were far more tougher. They were less skilled, as I stated, but they were far more tougher. So let's talk about the type of moves, since he did bring up the type of moves that were outlawed and so forth. Come on, shots to the head. I can endure that, but I understand that was concussions. But you know what? Those wrestlers endured those concussions. They basically strapped their boots up and they got to work the next day. Let's talk about the punt. Remember the punt kick to the head? Where is that today? You know, those wrestlers back in the day, they endured that. You know, Randy Orton made that move famous. But you know what? In the early 90s and the early 2000s and so forth, those wrestlers continued the next day and wrestled in that type of schedule that they had every day. The pile driver, the brain buster, the hangman choke, the power bomb. These were the type of high impact moves that there's no way in the world you telling me a man the size of Roman Reigns or the size of Bobby Lashley, you telling me they couldn't withstand that? Now would I say that they wouldn't get injured, or what should it have been done at the intensity or the repetitiveness as in the past? No. But why can't these wrestlers who got all these muscles punching everywhere out of their body, you mean to tell me they can't handle that type of bump? They can. They're unwilling because they're psychologically weak and they're soft. That's the reason why. And then let's not understand the fact that these wrestlers back in the day did not have the contracts that these wrestlers have now. And so when you look at the top, from Vince McMahon on and all these promoters, they're not allowing these particular moves that I've stated and others, such as the flying head, even the flying headbutt. You mean to tell me you think Seth Rollins can't handle a flying headbutt? Are you kidding me? Not should it not be done at the repetitive rate as they did back in the day, meaning every night, every so on? But you telling me they're not able to do so? These highly talented, highly skilled, quote unquote wrestlers, sports entertainers, they can't handle these type of moves? Sure they can, but they can't because they're psychologically weak, they're mentally weak, and they're all about their contracts. That's the reason. But furthermore, let me also talk about some other abuse. Let's talk about some of the, do you think anybody would have the balls to punch Vince McMahon in the face like Bret Hart did? That's toughness. These wrestlers today would not dare do anything like that. Do you think Big E would have the balls, or let's say, let's see who else, Sami Zayn would punch Vince McMahon in the face like Bret Hart did? Now, I know there were certain situations that triggered that, but I don't think if Vince McMahon did a screw job to anybody that they would have the balls to punch him in the face and spit in his face. They would never do that. But let's also talk about Bill Watt. Whenever he thought that a wrestler was damn, okay. All right, thanks.
All right, so let's go to JustAlyx. You got 5 minutes.
I want you guys to keep in mind that my opponent said he could take a steel chair shot to the head, because that's going to play into my next argument here. Because this issue goes far beyond the realms of wrestling. Taker's stance perfectly encapsulates the problems with toxic masculinity and the effect it has on our society today. Now, I don't necessarily blame Mark Calloway for having this mindset, because even I know the way we socialize operates subconsciously. We just go around doing what everybody else does. In other words, he's a product of a much different time. That said, the concept of what makes a man, what makes us tough, have changed. And with that, have created some extremely unreal expectations, especially in the world of wrestling. So much so that the very idea of us enjoying video games is a knock on our manlyhoods. In this interview with Joe Rogan, Taker spoke on a lot of nights he was sleeping in his car and wore that as a badge of honor. Now, he has that right, but therein lies the problem. This whole thing about living an unhealthy, uncomfortable, miserable existence as a way to pay your dues is absolutely crazy. It's asinine. Asinine. Living in a car with the stress and anxiety of not knowing when or where your next food is coming from isn't what I would call tough. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. There are many other ways to grind and pay your dues without having to struggle or suffer at such a severe level. But the way Taker speaks reminds me of an out-of-touch boomer who looks back on the good old days where men were hairy, carried around knives, and were getting into fights more times than not. Now, there is something to respect about walking barefoot for 10 miles to get to school. But just because I chose not to do it does not mean I'm not going through my own issues. And the same thing goes with the same modern-day wrestlers. Just because they didn't go through what Taker goes through or went through what Taker went through, that doesn't mean they're not tough. And it's very ignorant to assume just because we didn't suffer or they didn't suffer as much as he did, They're not dealing with their own set of issues. They're not facing their own challenges. They're not sacrificing. Everyone knows the high-octane pace of wrestling nowadays requires a lot of demand from your body and puts you at a lot more risk than the days where the suplexes and pile drivers and diving headbutts were deemed finishers. I want to see Taker take a flip pile driver, aka Canadian Destroyer. And if you don't believe me, why don't you ask Edge, Adam Copeland, a remnant of that era? He's come out defending this generation saying, you know, back then, all we had to worry about was getting to the building and producing. Sounds great. While the current generation has the stress of a social media and much more potential ways to injure themselves. So I'm sorry. Knowing the dark history of these wrestlers back then, whether it's women or men, if the worst commotion that comes out of the locker room is Xavier Woods getting mad at Matt Riddle for breaking a joystick on a PS4 controller, you'll have to excuse me, but I see that as a step in the right direction. Thank you.
All right, guys, that is the end of round 2. Y'all, we have hit past the 160 mark. Y'all are killing it in the chat. Again, the Forbidden Door is open tonight. I fucking love the synergy with two sectors coming together under one roof. And like I said before, y'all, if y'all not have hit up that Cash App for either of these two brothers, go ahead and do it now. This is where the big bucks are played in, and this is why this debate was raised to $300. This is why, because of this. So if you guys want to support D.Derell via Cash App, $Darrell77. If you guys want to support JustAlyx, $ANH1990. We are about to get into the third round, everyone. All right, D, you got 5 minutes.
All right, let me go ahead and get the knockout. So let's look at it from this standpoint. I thought I was debating just Alyx. Alyx seems to be wanting to debate the Undertaker, one of Mark Calloway. That's what it sounds like to me. Please chat, let me know. It sounds like he's not debating D.Derell. He's debating Mark. Come on. We're debating today on topic. Are the wrestlers softer today as opposed to yesterday? I say yes. And to me, let's give more evidence. Let me just give more evidence. Okay. Let's look at the fact of this. How many wrestlers of the day would wrestle with a broken neck like Kurt Angle? How many wrestlers today would wrestle in the WW, then the WWF, like Kerry Von Erich, Texas Tornado, that wrestled with damn near 1.5 foot, with 1 foot damn near cut off? Who could endure that? Who could actually get away with wrestling for the WW? I'm not talking about no independent wrestling organization or some low-level, Memphis League Wrestling or Dallas League Wrestling. I'm talking about the best and the largest, most profitable organization. This man endured working with 1 foot, 1.5 foot, 1 foot. Part of one of his foot, his foot was cut off, and he wrestled and pulled it off. Now, he didn't wrestle to his capabilities as he did prior to that injury, but the matter of fact that nobody even knew of that because he was tough. The Von Erichs were some of the toughest SOBs in wrestling. Now, I didn't say they were the most psychologically fit, but they were tough. Their father was tough. And those generations encouraged and they reinforced toughness. Again, maybe not the most skilled, but they were tough because they were willing to put their bodies on the line. I'm not saying that they were smart. You see, what Alyx is trying to do was trying to talk about the fact that the wrestlers of today learn and they are now privileged that they don't have to go through. But the bottom line is that many of these wrestlers, if they had to endure the things of yesteryears, they probably would have not even been a wrestler. Could you envision, guys, a wrestler like Shorty G enduring what the wrestlers of back then went through? Could you imagine that? No, he could not. He wouldn't. It's the fact of the matter is that these wrestlers are spoiled. They're highly paid, and some of them are highly overrated. But that's not the debate. But again, this is the things that they had to deal with. Where's the ECW of today? Where's the modern day ECW? What, you have to go to New Japan Pro or some other Southeast Asian run-of-the-mill promotion that allow you to do all kinds of crazy stuff? But where is the ECW? Where's the hardcoreness? The hardcore of today would be seen as softcore as opposed to in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. Are you kidding me? These wrestlers are soft. They don't want to take the risk. They're unwilling to do so, even in doing risky rules that are not even banned. And that's just a fact. That is just a fact. Okay? You couldn't put up with someone verbally abusing you, someone forcing and making you, someone like Bill's Watch slapping you in the chest, telling you you're being lazy and so forth. Could these wrestlers handle that? No, they'd start crying. They would start crying and bickering, calling their agents and so forth. They couldn't handle that. These wrestlers are soft. And the bottom line is that what wrestlers are doing now, and to me, NXT is basically an example of that. They're looking for highly skilled, disciplined, psychologically fit, and I would say people that are able to perform all of the nuances of wrestling, not necessarily the rigorous pounding, punch and kick and body slam type of wrestler of back in the day. They could not handle it. They would never do it. They would not be wrestlers if they were in, even though they were fans of that type of wrestling, they would not dare have the testicular fortitude to do those type of stunts. And so it's like I said, WWE and other promotions are so soft. They don't even allow color that much. Matter of fact, Vince McMahon gets highly upset, get his panties in a bunch if he sees color. Let's come on now. Back in the day, every net match you would see color.
All right, so we're gonna go to Alyx. You got 5 minutes.
Let's be clear about something. When you look at all the people my opponent mentioned, Von Erichs, maybe even the Dusty Rhodes, and of course the dead man himself, who spent their entire lives in this business, you really have to ask yourself, what would these people be doing if wrestling never existed? Would they be in sports? Would they be maybe running their own business? Perhaps behind a desk somewhere? I think we know the big question and the answer to that question. I can't really see them doing anything else but wrestling. Even Taker himself admitted that on the Joe Rogan Experience. Ever since his retirement, Taker has been at a crossroads where he's not so old where he can't work, but he doesn't know what he wants to do. There's something to respect about people who go all in on a passion. Steve Harvey is a very good example of that, of someone who all he wanted to do was be a comedian. But what happens when you can't do that no more? What happens when you can't wrestle no more? So I want to apply that to this generation, because when I think about someone like Xavier Woods, a man who has a PhD in psychology, owns his own gaming channel, currently gearing up to host the G4. I think about people like John Cena, who not only is back here wrestling, but he's also a Hollywood actor. I can throw Rock in there, but Rock is also a part of that old generation, technically. So I'm going to use John Cena for right now. I think about people like Chris Jericho, who hosts his own podcast, who once in a while will do his own show. What about Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, who live double lives? MMA fighters. Do we not comprehend the level of determination and perseverance to maintain all of this while wrestling and be good at it? Trust me, if you're able to pass your midterms and state exams while falling through tables, I think you're one tough son of a bitch. The only thing Taker has interest in outside of wrestling, quite frankly, is hunting. Something that he mentioned on the Joe Rogan Experience. Last I checked, he wasn't doing any of that stuff. Not that he needs to, he's a millionaire. But to say that wrestlers are soft, when he's only had to worry about one career, but all these other wrestlers are doing multiple things, having their hands in multiple pots, that shows true grit in my mind. Okay, this generation doesn't just stick to one career. They have their hands in other things. They're traveling more. They're enduring and dealing with a lot more, not just physically, but also mentally. Back then, you can be great at one career and make a living. Nowadays, you'd be crazy not to at least have a plan B. Times have changed, and it takes toughness to change with the times. I like seeing wrestlers carve their own paths and succeed in other genres outside of wrestling. Personally, I think it helps bring a whole new level of respect to the sport. They're not just fake fighters touching each other's bodies. They're MMA fighters. They're actors. They're hosts. They're showing it takes a special type of person to do this for a living. And I don't know how anybody can call this generation soft when you know that. Thank you.
All right, guys. So that right there is the end of round 3. Was that the end of round 3, D.Derell or Alyx? I completely forgot.
That was
for some odd reason.
That was round 3.
Okay. Okay, cool. So yeah, guys, that's the end of round 3. We're about to get to our closing statements. Again, y'all, the shit is lit. I love the synergy. I know I keep saying that, but it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing seeing all y'all in here tonight. And I want to give a big shout out to Alyx, man, because with Alyx, you know, he pretty much went out of his way to make his own poster for this debate. He made a trailer for this debate. He went out of his way to tell his audience to come here tonight, and he did not have to do that. He did not have to do that at all. So I'm very, very grateful for Alyx coming here and spreading the word about it. This is a great thing. So, guys, we are about to get to our closing statement. All right, D.Derell, you got 3 minutes.
Okay, guys, I want to say thank you once again for me proving without a shadow of a doubt that wrestlers of the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, the 80s, 90s, early 2000s are far more tougher than the wrestlers of today. And I think in all 3 rounds, I showed the fact that the endurance level, the pain level tolerance, the fact the culture of wrestling was a lot more rigorous. The fact of the matter that these guys are not, you know, being spoiled to death. Even, man, to me, it's even embarrassing for me to look at the fact that I actually think just a few weeks ago, a female wrestler did more hardcore moves and stunts than most men. I actually think there's a female, Dr. Britt Baker, AEW wrestler. She did far more stunts and so forth. To me, that wrestling match that she had a few weeks ago was classic. I don't think there's any of the men that could even match that match. And you all know the match that I'm talking about. And that, to me, that speaks to how soft they are, because most of the men would not even dare to do that type of move, of that type of match. They wouldn't dare have that. They're too pretty. You know, they don't want to mess up their face and all this other different stuff. They would not even dare do that. But I want to speak to the end. It all goes to the fact that even when you get in the ring, these guys put their body on the line. They put their life on the line. You know, they basically put day in and day out. They were harder than the wrestlers today because they did it to entertain each and every one of us that watch and are the hardcore fans that we are today. I would say now, when you look at the looking at wrestlers as far as the percentage of hardcore wrestlers, the wrestlers that grew up watching that type of wrestling are far more hardcore than this new generation of younger wrestlers who watch this soft type style of wrestling. And it's a reason, because it was more entertaining. It had you more emotionally involved, and you felt for the wrestler. You felt for the fact that these wrestlers went through the things that you almost, you know, was living vicariously through them because they put it all on the line. And so, in all essence, as I stated, the wrestlers of past generation, you know, those wrestlers dug it out. They stuck it out day in and day out through those rigorous travel schedules that they had, and they got paid a lot less. And they actually loved wrestling. These guys love wrestling. My opponent today chose to debate against The Undertaker. That's what this debate sounded like. It wasn't debating D.Derell. It was debating The Undertaker And I don't even think he won that because he couldn't beat me in my talking points as it relates to the evidence that I articulated to each and every one of you.
D.
Thank you.
All right, Alyx, you got 3 minutes for your closing statement.
In closing, I want to say with love, this is not an attack on the old generation, nor does this diminish the respect I have for anybody from the past. You cannot make a top 10 list with people like The Undertaker. Without The Undertaker, and have any sort of credibility. But like many who grow old, it feels like these people are hanging on to a time where life was a lot more simple. Is there some truth to what my opponent has been saying? Absolutely. You can sit here all day and say that there's a bit too much sizzle than meat nowadays. Way too much pretty and not enough substance. I hear that a lot. But to lay that at the feet of the talent is ridiculous. We all know that nowadays these wrestlers, if you put a Kenny Omega, if you put a Jon Moxley, if you put a Seth Rollins, if you put these guys back in the Attitude Era, not only would these guys flourish, I would dare say they would have been at the same level of a Stone Cold Steve Austin or Rock, if not close to them. I don't think we can argue that. I think a lot of times we forget that nowadays things are a lot more different. The scripted promos, the micromanaging, all this other stuff happening in WWE and other companies, that's hindering the wrestlers from getting over. You take a CM Punk, you put him back in the old school, I guarantee you he does well. But you won't hear that from Taker. You won't hear that from certain people. Because I guarantee you, if Taker had come up during this era, I highly doubt he'd be a legend nowadays. Not because he doesn't have the talent. It's just the people running the shows just out of touch and no longer understanding what it takes to appeal to a wide audience. These wrestlers aren't at fault for that. That's not a knock on their toughness. We see it every week with Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, how these guys go out there, they kill themselves to give us the best show possible, but unfortunately they have to deal with the bad booking. I personally think the talents are not at fault, it's the leadership. But I have so much faith in this generation of wrestlers that under the right leadership and direction, we could have a new golden era. One without toxic masculinity. One that allows the wrestlers to work smarter and longer. And one where the wrestlers aren't afraid to hustle outside the business. So excuse me if I don't necessarily agree with D.Derell about his points. This generation's hungry, they're passionate, more importantly, they're not soft. Thank you.
All right, guys. So that's going to conclude this debate. I'll bring the judges on in a little bit, but I want to make everybody know that the final number, bell to bell, for this debate high was 165 people. So y'all did the damn thing tonight. This is obviously the highest rated debate of all time. This shattered the previous record like by leaps and bounds. So congrats to Alyx and D.Derell for that. And that is exactly why they were getting the big bucks tonight. And I want to give a big shout out to the donors because I pretty much know that the goal was a hefty task, but I felt confident that it could happen. And you guys did come through with the goal of $300 so that these two gentlemen can come in here, have this crossover, have this synergy in the chat. So we did the damn thing tonight. This was a huge success, a big success. Now what I'm about to do is I'm about to take D.Derell and Alyx to backstage. So Alyx and D.Derell, just hang backstage for a little bit. I'll bring you guys back on once the judges make their decision. So hang tight, y'all in the back. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to bring on the judges. And again, that is Dukesy T, Ghost, and Speak Easy. Now, Dukesy T, you're new to this. So it's like I said, I'm about to drop the link. And what I want you to do, Dukesy T, is to click on the link. Then once you're backstage, go ahead and put down who you thought won in the private chat. Don't put it in the comments. Put it in the private chat once you're backstage. Hold on. Let me try and find this drop for Propane. So I'm about to drop the link for only the judges. This is only for the judges. So here we go. The link is dropped. And shout out to Propane Oaklane.
Be accountable. Propane. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. Welcome to step into the ring. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. People, tell me what you think. Who won the debate? Who won the debate? Who won the debate? Who won the debate? When you step into the ring. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. Welcome to step into the ring. Who won the debate? Who won the debate? Who won the debate? Who won the debate? You can step into the ring. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. Step into the ring. Who won the debate? 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 Who won the debate?
All right, so I got all three of my judges backstage. The only person I'm waiting on to give me, oh, okay, so we already got it. So, and as far as I see Casey Mod is backstage. Hey, Casey Mod, I'm not bringing anybody onto the panel right now. This is only for the judges. Thanks. So, ladies and gentlemen, okay, so I want to make it very clear to everybody. If you're new here, I want y'all to know that this is for entertainment purposes only. This is only for entertainment. We do this just to have dialogue. That's all that it is. This is all for entertainment. So with all that being said, y'all, the winner of this debate with the 2-0 record, the Godfather D.Derell. So congrats to D.Derell. Again, everybody, this is only for entertainment purposes only. Only for entertainment purposes only. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to bring the judges onto the panel, and they will explain why they chose who they chose. What's going on, fellas?
Yo.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Chilling. So I want to start off with Speak Easy. You know, like I know Speak Easy's out of town right now, and I appreciate you for judging. So who did you choose and why? Speak, you there?
Yo, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm first?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I gave it to Alyx 2-1. D.Derell won the first round. The second and third was close, but Alyx got me when he brought up the finishing moves, and he got me with the structure in the third round of like, ain't no squash matches. You're not going to see Pedro Morales versus Gustavo Mendoza, where Gustavo Mendoza don't get no work in. He just get fucked up and the match is over. Nowadays, all of the matches, you going to take work from who you getting it from, and you got to take it the whole match. So the structure is different, and the finishing moves from yesteryear is a move that you do in the middle of the match today, and you might take a couple of them. So those two reasons only is why I gave it to Alyx in those 2 rounds, but they was close, but strong debate.
Right, I feel you. So let's go ahead to Ghost. What's going on, Ghost?
Yeah, I had a 2-1 Derell. I gave the first round to Derell. I gave the second round to Alyx. And it's funny, Speak Easy said that about the finishers. I mean, yesterday's finishers was like, you know, Harley Race had a drop kick, Jake the Snake had a DDT, Hulk Hogan had a leg drop. They wasn't really taking like these severe finishers as they taken like today, like he said, the Spanish flies and the lethal injection, shit like that, you know. So I gave Alyx the second round. The third round was close, but I think Derell drove it home a little bit more than Alyx did in the third round, and you know, proving his point that today's wrestlers aren't as, you know, aren't as softer than yesterday's wrestlers. And Yeah, I had it 2-1. Darrell first and third, and Alyx with the second.
Right, I feel you. Good stuff. Good stuff. Now, y'all, like I pretty much got to go to one of my day ones, y'all. Man, I've been knowing this dude for years upon years. He's been there from he's been there from the very beginning, y'all. Man, like as far as Duke CT goes, man, like he's seen me from my very beginnings. He's seen my ups, he's seen my downs, he's seen my bullshit, he's seen my outbursts throughout the years.
Yes.
So yo, man, like it's so great to hear from you again. So with all that being said, who you thought won in Rod?
Well, I honestly would say the first round went to D.Derell, the second one Alyx, and the third one is D.Derell. They were really close. Both structured their arguments really well, and looking at it, and also I think D.Derell kind of stumble a bit saying, oh, there's no hardcore. Where's the new ECW? I'm like, CZW. I mean, that regardless of what you thought of it, and I have some issues with CZW and everything else, that pretty much is the spiritual successor of ECW for a good or for ill and everything else. But honestly, I believe D.Derell really gave some good points to it, and he made some good points that it seemed that he was right. The aspect of like he's saying Alyx, he was arguing against the Undertaker, but not actually what the debate was. And D.Derell really hammered that in, and he looked at what wrestlers are. They're like a little softer and everything else. But I will say this. And you say that there's no wrestlers that if D.Derell is listening, I'm like, hey, there are some wrestlers who can go that full distance. I mean, just recently at Josh Alexander and TJ Perkins went over an hour Iron Man match on Impact and such, where the X was in title. You had and many other wrestlers that can go for 60 plus minutes. You know, I mean, that's all. There's always that better conditioning, better wrestlers that can continue to go that long, to continue to go to the distance. So, I mean, you just gotta look for it. And as for people saying that there's a lack of toughness to wrestlers, I mean, Natalia was pissed off at a little $5 thing, that whole $15. What's your best women's wrestling stuff? And she got pissed at that. I'm like, yeah, some of these wrestlers are just too soft, or maybe with an angle. I don't know. Just it's just sad, too sad. But yeah, D.Derell won this. Barely won, but I think both did a really good job.
Hey, can I say I had to penalize D.Derell too on the Montreal screw job? D.Derell, it was a work. It was a work.
Yeah. That was a penalty. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he lost that second round. He brought up I'm like, the Montreal, somebody hit Vince McMahon. I'm like, it was a work. Vince McMahon would never put nobody over like that. That's leaving the company. It was a work.
Well, that was at one time, Goldberg and Lesnar were leaving both WWE. So,
and he had Stone Cold stunner both of them at the end of the match.
No, guys. So pretty much what I'm about to do, I'm about to bring on D.Derell and Alyx and Duke CT, Speak Easy and Ghost. If you guys want to leave, you guys can leave anytime. But I'm about to bring on D.Derell and Alyx. So I want to start off with Alyx. Yo, Alyx, man, again, I appreciate you coming in, bro. Do you have any thoughts on what the judges have said?
Oh, man, I have no issues whatsoever. It was a very good debate. I'm not gonna lie and say that I wish I would have done better myself. I kind of figured after round, especially round one, even I knew was ooh, yeah, they y'all made the right decision in giving it to him, because even I knew I messed that one up. And I personally see this as a growing experience. This is literally my first debate, period. I don't think I've ever done a debate before, and it was fun. It was great in terms of people showing up. Like you said, the crowd was here. They were hot. They were cheering on both men. And quite frankly, this is the kind of stuff I want to see more on YouTube. The fun in wrestling, because there's so much negativity going around on social media. So many people picking sides, saying that, oh, if you don't think this way, you're an idiot. No, fuck that. Wrestling is whatever. It's fake. It is fake. But what I'm trying to say is it's fun. It's supposed to be. We all get along. We all should appreciate that we see things differently and just enjoy it regardless. And yeah, I felt that energy today. So thank you for bringing me on.
Yeah, man, no doubt, man. Yo, and bro, man, like it's pretty much like I said, man. You know, the type of stuff that you did to go out your way to even tell people about this, you know, it made it even better. But hey, you know, it's like I was telling people when I first started doing these debates. You know, like these type of debates can really come into something like really, really big, and you can go into different sectors. And seeing as how I was from the pro wrestling sector at the very beginning, this is the type of stuff that I would like to see. And again, thanks to you and Darrell, this was kind of like a pilot of that. So hell, you know, like who knows, you know, we can probably get maybe the bigger dogs in the pro wrestling sector to do something like this again, man. But it's like I said, Alyx, I thoroughly appreciate you for coming on, going out of your way to make this shit happen. Like, just humbled, man. I'm very, very humbled. Extremely humbled.
It's my pleasure. Always will be.
Yeah, no doubt. So, Darrell, yo, man, how you feel, man? You 2-0.
That's why I'm the Godfather. Remember that. That's why I am the Godfather. You have to understand, I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to take somebody that, to me, I don't know whether he may have more wrestling knowledge than me, but I am well versed in wrestling. Now, I have to say something to both of you. The reason why I stated the issue about the screw job because in a documentary, Bret Hart stated that he hit Vince McMahon in a documentary. So I assumed in a documentary that was true. That's the reason why I stated that Bret Hart hit him in the face. Unless he just lied in a documentary, but he did state that in a documentary.
Well, he said that you said that, yo, a wrestler of today wouldn't have the heart to hit Vince McMahon like Bret Hart. But did you see nobody never seen that punch on camera?
I know that, but I'm saying he said that in a documentary though. That's why I assumed it was because if he would have said that in a wrestling show or some other interview, I would have probably because I thought it was a work, but when I felt that it was a work. But when he said it
wrestling with shadows was part of the work.
Oh yeah, it was all that stuff.
This wasn't Wrestling with Shadows. This was something else. This was a
documentary, right? Wrestling with Shadows.
This was a documentary. Go ahead.
You said I was thinking it was something else, but it probably was Wrestling Shadows. I'm gonna look this up right quick.
I thought it was something with the Discovery Channel or some other like a network like that.
It was a film crew following Bret around, and
was it Dark Side Ring?
No, I think it was Wrestling with Shadows. I'm
gonna go back and see where I saw that at because I remember. But I mean, if it was a work, it was a work. I mean, I was wrong, but I just felt like when I saw that, I thought, it happened because he said it in a documentary. So
yeah, that was all part of the work.
But why would that? I don't see the point in making that part of a work. I mean, what did Bret Hart have to gain? Like, I mean, he left the company.
I think Kevin Nash or Scott Hall said it best. He said, "No way." All right, when I seen the documentary, right? And in the documentary, like I said, you never see the actual punch. You just see Vince McMahon walking backstage like he's like stumbling and his hair is a little messed up and he looks wobbly. And I think it was Kevin Nash who said that was Vince McMahon's way of putting the fight over. Like Bret Hart really kicked his ass. And he said Vince McMahon would never do nothing like that for somebody that's leaving the company.
Right.
And like I said, with the whole Goldberg Brock Lesnar thing, you seen at the end of that match, he had Stone Cold go in there and stun everybody and give them all the finger and the big F you out the door. Like that's how Vince McMahon does. That's how he does business.
Okay.
So with all that being said, I'm about to go into the post show and I'm about to drop the link. And for those of you who guys are new, just want to give a disclaimer. I'm nobody's babysitter. I'm not the YouTube police. So if we're going to have some fuckery tonight, We'll have some fuckery tonight. If we're gonna be Wakanda forever, we'll be Wakanda forever. If we're gonna talk pro wrestling all night, then we'll talk pro wrestling. So I'm about to drop the link, and I already see Tiffany's backstage, so I'll go ahead and let her up. Let's see what Tiffany got to say. What's going on, Tiff? Tiff, you there?
I am. What's up, BA? Thank you.
What's going on?
Congratulations to my daddy. Let's start off there. I have serious problems with you. Like, I can't find your show. And I felt real, discriminated against and all that. Like, you said the show was only for real niggas, and I can't find your shit. That's still on the fuck shit. Like, I can't find it. Hello? Oh.
Yeah, we here.
Well, we here.
Yeah, we here.
I don't know if he heard you.
Wow, that's what we're doing? Well, shout out. Congratulations for another win. And I'm going to drop off.
Who's she talking about?
The Godfather.
Heard me?
Guys, hold on, guys. Like, I'm really starting to get a lot of people trying to come in. So if I can get some people to drop off, because damn, this shit looks crazy right here. If I can get some people to drop off.
I just got one thing to say, and I'll drop off, BA. The Godfather should officially retire from debating. There's no need further for him to debate anybody. Okay, he just proved that he can cross over to other sectors and dominate a debate. I had it derail 3-0, but I understand the guys that knocked him down for round 2. But the Godfather should officially retire. Let's put it this way: he shouldn't debate anybody in this sector, in the Umar sector. He shouldn't debate anybody else in this sector. He's proven his point. That's it.
All right, that's what's up, Red.
How much old school wrestling do you watch?
Man, I'd be here forever. Let's just say I watch a lot.
So you know where you lost this debate at was you didn't name the 5 moves you see in every old school wrestling match: headlock, leapfrog, hip toss, finish. That was the only moves that was happening back in the day. You could have killed Darrell with that, but you didn't.
Okay.
And I know you got a lot of wrestling knowledge, and in a debate, you got to make your points and stick them.
Right.
Not argue with Darrell was saying. You got to stab your points home.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
And you're right about that.
Yeah, because they were not skilled. The wrestlers. My point was the wrestlers of previous generation were nowhere near as skilled, so they had to take punches and kicks.
Right.
To be fair, if you look at some of the old stuff, I mean, you look at, say, for example, like Andre the Giant's documentary back in his day, like in the 50s and 60s, he was doing like head scissors, doing like stuff that you do see somewhat in the modern day in that type of time frame. So it was, you did see these type of moves back in those days. You did. And it's just that, it wasn't as, they didn't do as much in the 80s because you didn't need to do that much in the 80s to get a reaction. They didn't need to do that stuff.
Exactly.
So,
it wasn't about the moves back then.
Was the
presentation.
Was the road schedules much tougher back then than it is today?
Oh yeah,
Oh my goodness,
way tougher.
Right.
Especially
they was going like 310 days out the year, right?
Oh yeah, and not including going to other countries, going to doing that stuff. But the one thing the territories had, which today is trying to replicate and will probably not do as well, is because they had like different type of territories, so you can just shake off and say, here's a new character I can do, here's a new thing I can do this. And once that thing gets old, I can just pack up, go to another place. Nowadays, it's just, I respect what Tony Khan's trying to do, trying to be that forbidden door and everything, but it's just going to, it's just like, okay, it's not going to be the same because the territory system, it was more like, different styles of wrestling. You want your hardcore, you got your hardcore place to go. You got your scientific wrestling, you got your scientific wrestling. You got your New York style wrestling, you go up to New York style wrestling. That sort of stuff. So I don't know if it's going to work.
Do they do as much house shows, WWE? Do they do as much house shows like they did?
House shows circuit's dead. It's gone.
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah.
They had to shut down a house show because not just they were just losing money regardless on that. They barely AEW doesn't do any house shows and such.
Right. Back then they had a lot of house shows.
To it. Yeah,
they had a lot of house shows back then, and then.
Oh yeah.
With the way AEW makes up for it, though, is you got those shows, Elevation and Dark, which helps, but you also allow these wrestlers to go wrestle in other places, so they're getting a lot of work, probably more than an actual house show circuit would be. So regardless,
they're actually used as independent contractors, unlike WWE's, supposedly independent contractors and everything else, which is another.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and go to Stargate. What's going on, Stargate?
Hey, what's going on? Congratulations, D.Derell.
Thank you.
I basically, is it off topic if I ask if they think, because the only thing I know about wrestling, I watched this documentary and this guy, because I did my Googles, and when somebody brought up Abdullah the Butcher.
Oh yeah.
And he had that blood coming through the crevices and I remember thinking like, yo, that's like they was crazy back in the day, right?
Yes, they were.
So
that's blading.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he bladed. He actually bladed his thing.
And he had hepatitis B too.
No, C actually, hepatitis C, and man, there were a lot of people who were pissed about that. So like suing. In fact, there was one wrestler who's like, my career was messed up by it, I think, and he sued and he got like at least like 20 million at least. So yeah.
So imagine him.
You're talking about Hannibal, right?
Yeah, Hannibal. Yeah, he got the YouTube channel. Yep, exactly. Yep.
Wow. I think it is. So yeah, it's that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just speaking of that stuff, those old school wrestlers and everything. I mean, you look at, like I said, like the old school hardcore stuff. I mean, especially back in the day, like someone like a Bruiser Brody, and you see some people like see how that Sabu, all these other things.
And let me just say this too, because we got to be careful, and this is something I shared about in our debate. A lot of that crazy stuff we saw back then, we still see nowadays with people like Nick Gage, who I should have mentioned. I wish I would have brought him up, who is basically cutting himself to a point where he has to get carried out with a helicopter to the hospital. I don't know if you saw the Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, right. And then he came back and wanted to finish the match.
He actually died and came back to life. And still came back.
And then somehow is going to be featured in a main event in AEW.
He's taking on Matt Cardona tonight.
Yeah, he's taking on Matt Cardona in a death match, and if he survives that, which I believe he will, no offense to Matt Cardona, but nah, man, you're not ready for that stuff. Nick Gage is going to face like Chris Jericho. That Painmaker and everything. I'm like, man, just. And by the way, this is the second labor for him to face MJF. I'm like, dang, yeah, man. I'm like, what else is next?
I got to run, y'all. Semifinals is about to start. Wish the kids luck, and I'm gonna get out of here, man. I appreciate everybody. D.Derell, brother.
Peace,
shout
man.
out to the gang, man. I got to get in here.
Your question though, right? When do the new age wrestling start? Because it's like you guys are saying like they are somehow tougher back in the day, but bro, would you say that Jeff Hardy is soft?
Oh no! Oh gosh, Jeff Hardy's crazy. Same with his brother too.
Jeff Hardy been wrestling in the 90s.
Nah,
no, he was wrestling.
Hardy debuted in 04.
No. He started way back. And if you look, I believe he was like working with WF, like him and his brother. I think it was King of the Ring 95.
Yeah, it's in the 90s. It was
95.
I think you're 95 or 94.
Yeah.
But you're close.
Yeah, they were jobbers.
In the 90s.
Yeah, they
we consider Chris Jericho like new school. Why don't we consider Jeff Hardy new school?
Jericho was in ECW.
No.
Jericho old school.
old school, bro.
He's in the mix.
School.
Jericho is in that zone because he was in the 80s with like Lance Storm and such, the Thrill Seekers. But also he was, his biggest stuff was in WCW in the 90s. And
He was in Japan. He was in Japan.
with that
94.
terrible outfit of like trying to be like Liger or whatever. And
now like Jeff Hardy too though. That's like
now as far as new school, I mean, are we talking about modern wrestling as well? So is modern and new school the same thing? Because we're talking about modern wrestling, then we got to talk about like the Amazing Reds, because the Amazing Red, he came out in 2002. Low key, he may be considered modern.
Brock
Who else?
Lesnar, Jeff Hardy,
like
I consider anything past 2000. I think anything past 2000 is new school. That's just my opinion.
Right. Because that kind of leads me to like I said, guys like Amazing Red, who was one of the pioneers of that style that we see now. You look at a guy like AJ Styles when he was in Ring of Honor. I ain't talking about TNA. I'm talking about ROH AJ Styles. He was doing some crazy shit. Same thing with Samoa Joe, Ring of Honor, CM Punk, and IWA Mid-South. If you want to talk about, you want to talk about guys like
WCW before
Ricochet
it closed down,
like
that stuff, that high energy. If you looked at the, in the later pay-per-views of WCW, via like, whatever, including like that terrible Peacock streaming service, if you have it, used to see how that high flying at that stuff, that energy. You saw how that is.
Who's that woman, Darrell?
Hell yeah, D. What's going on over there?
Who that woman, Darrell?
What woman?
Who died at your house, Darrell?
Nah, see, y'all don't understand. That was his
You know
son
what
playing
time it
video
is?
games.
Oh, your son is playing video games?
I could tell.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, the high energy of the cruiserweights was right there in the genesis of the end of WCW. But
Well, are you trying to bring up like, I mean, I think it's between Jeff Hardy and New Jack about like, guys going to the ring high out their fucking minds, but I mean, that's another thing too.
Well, to be fair, British Bulldog was high when he was fighting for the IC title against Bret Hart, which somehow, I don't know what happened. I don't know how they got off, and Bret Hart says he didn't like that match. I'm like, dude, that's probably one of the best matches you ever had back in the day.
Was that the one in Wembley? That was the one in Wembley?
Yeah, when he read his book, he says, man, I don't know if this match was good. I'm like, I don't know. If you don't think that's good, what do you think is trash? I'm like, damn, man, that was probably the best you could do in that situation.
Right?
So yeah.
So let's go ahead to Binary. What's going on, Binary?
What's up? Listen, I only got a few things to say. I think D.Derell did get this 3-0. The third one was an edge. I think Alyx could have really drove it home on the third one, as far as if he would have stuck to a certain lane, and I'll get into that in a second here. I think D.Derell, he stuck to the topic all 3 rounds, and that's what gave, in my mind, that's what gave him the 3-0. He never veered off the topic. But the thing is the topic was the topic of toughness. Toughness was not really defined. So what D.Derell did was he went with more of a physical toughness. He defined it and stuck with it. Where I think Alyx could have actually won is using his closing statement and use that all 3 rounds and redefine toughness, more of a mental toughness. Because the way he ended the closing round, if he would have had that all the way through, oh my God, because there is so much versatility that's going on nowadays within wrestling. I mean, he opened my eyes to that shit. I was like, oh damn, he's on it. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, he didn't take it. He didn't take it there until like super late. And I could tell he was trying to get there. You know what I mean? But I think he should have just started off with the psychological aspect as his premise and just kept driving that aspect of toughness, and he probably would have won this debate. That's just my opinion.
That's a good opinion, and I agree with that. And I think going forward, if I ever get into a debate like this, I'll see if I can stick to that myself. And I also, again, I mentioned him earlier. If I would have given more examples like a Nick Gage also, to explain my point of toughness, mental toughness, I think that would have also given me the edge. Imagine if I would have hit D.Derell with the idea that Nick Gage died and then came back to life and still continued to wrestle. I don't know.
Right?
If
Yeah,
he'd be able,
that's a tough one.
I don't know if you'd be able to debate
Right.
that, D.Derell. Shoot.
I just define. Yeah.
I mean, as far as other guys, you could have named off Madman Pondo. You could have named off David Kirkpatrick from fucking Big Japan Pro Wrestling. Could have got damn, who's that other guy? Jun Kasai. Could have got Jun Kasai in that motherfucker, man. Like a lot of those crazy ass people in Japan that do all that crazy shit.
Right.
Man, like
I mean, who won the world title with like a separated shoulder? Somebody just recently did that, like 5 years ago.
with separated shoulder.
Finn Balor. He won the Universal title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. That's a good
Against
example.
Seth Rollins. Against Seth Rollins, yeah.
Man, again, if I would have came with that kind of mentality, you right, Binary. Maybe you should have been my debate coach or something like that to help me out here. That's what I needed, was a debate coach.
Let me go ahead and throw a shameless plug. Go ahead and sub to my channel, and I got you, man. Binary coach. Go ahead.
Yo, like I've already put you over, Binary, at the very beginning of the debate. You didn't hear that?
Oh, I didn't. What'd you say? Oh man.
Oh man, like I was pretty much spilling my guts out. I was like, yeah, man, like if it wasn't for Binary plugging my first ever ad on his channel, this wouldn't be possible.
That's real.
And that soundbite you did a long time ago, you know, it's pretty much the title of this debate and all that. I was putting you over big time.
Oh man, see, I only came in as soon as the round started. I was in Vita V's chat, man. She was going in today, man.
She was crying. Pandering.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Nah, she wasn't pandering, bro. I mean, you could try to get to the fuckery if you want, but that show was lit, bro.
Nah, that's pandering.
But thank you so much, Big Hollow. That's dope.
Flock said it was pandering.
Oh, wait, listen, no, man. Listen, right? So look.
Hold on, Flock. No.
No.
Hold on, Flock. Let's go ahead and conscious energy. What's going on, conscious?
Peace.
Come on with
love and blessings. Woo. I'm sending y'all tons of good energy. Take that. Family, we just bring that good out, man. Yo, brother, be accountable, man. Brother D.Derell. Hey, man, it was a great debate, man. I just want to say this real quick. You know, I want to tell y'all my three favorite wrestlers of all time that I like. Number one is Nature Boy Ric Flair.
Woo!
Woo! Woo! Number two, I'm gonna have to say it has to be The Rock. And
Rock.
number three,
oh Lord.
And number three, the all-time greatest wrestler, we got to give it to The Undertaker. We got to give it to The Undertaker.
Okay.
What?
I take The Undertaker over The Rock.
That's
The Undertaker.
Hey, I like that list. I feel that list, man.
I believe I was commercialized when I liked the Hulk.
Star is that Stargate?
Hey, conscious energy.
Hey, Stargate, how you doing?
What's going on, brother?
Oh man, I got on my breastplate of righteousness today.
The breastplate of righteousness. What am I burning?
The greatest of all time is New Jack.
Salvation.
New Jack.
Hey, brother D.Derell, man, congratulations on winning the debate. And I just want to say, brother, be accountable, man. Your editing skills are phenomenal, brother. You deserve an award.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to say, man. Congratulations.
All right, no doubt, conscious, no doubt. So I want to give a disclaimer to Alyx. I have no idea what Flacco was going to say, and
it's gonna be good.
This is the part. Hold on, Flock. Now, Alyx, you're new here, so I'm just letting you know. I don't know what Flacco about to say. So, Flock, what you about to say, bro?
Sector talk. No. Listen, man, like, bro, I would be playing myself if I give her any type of like clout or any like recognition. But I do insist this though, man. Yo, listen, man, like we doubted, Godfather D. I for one begged him not to take the match because I said, bruh, that nigga Alyx, man, and he knows his stuff, bro. So one, man, like, we are proud of the Godfather, bro. Godfather stepped in the ring when he was the supreme underdog. People had him counted out, doubted, and he stood up and he, again, took that 3-0 sweep. 2-1 sweep, right? Who won?
Yeah, it was 2-1. It was 2-1. And I'm with you on that, bro. I'm with you. I didn't think he was going to bring that much fire, bro.
Yeah, bro. I had it as a wash.
Oh, man, here go Mikey, man, with this bullshit.
John Cena? Are you serious? That's a joke.
That's like a commercial, like, right?
Wait,
it's like Hulk Hogan. Like, he was, come on, he had it.
Y'all hating on John Cena.
Can anybody name one classic match that John Cena had? Like a real classic match?
No, I'll give you one. That KO match, that was good.
That was decent. That was good.
That was okay.
But
Honestly, he was good for the entertainment. Like, the entertainment value.
John Cena was making a lot of wrestlers during that run a little bit. He was making a lot of them, man. Like, he basically did the job to AJ Styles. He jobbed out the KO. Was it Seth Rollins too? But
here's the thing, Ghost. You know, like, it's pretty much smoke and mirrors. Because here's the reason why. In order for you to make somebody look good and put somebody over, it has to be a longer term of it. You know, like, if you look at Triple H, you know, like, there were times Triple H have been doing that bullshit.
Everybody.
Him and Jeff Jarrett.
But look,
both buried everybody during the mid-2000s.
But look though, for the people that want to defend Triple H, they want to say, oh well, there was Shelton Benjamin, but I was like, bro, like, okay, so Shelton Benjamin beat Triple H, then what happened? Triple H beat him and buried him the next week, and everything was forgotten. The same thing with Curtis Axel and all that other stuff. So as far as
shouts out to the game, shouts out to the game.
Yeah, but here's the
AJ Styles.
Yeah. I mean,
the game is here.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this though. It's just the thing about John Cena, the thing about wrestling. All of that is because WWE has that big main star, and it's the same thing from the 80s to the 90s to everything else. They never really had. I mean, you could say the 90s they had a bench. I mean, they could implement Triple H, Rock, all that stuff.
It was flagrant with Triple H though, bro.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It was.
He was just burying those dudes.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
the Booker T situation. Oh,
the Booker T situation, the Katie Vick situation.
You should have been.
Both were just terrible. Which was worse, necrophilia or racism? Pick one. That was the entire thing of 2002 and 2003 of Monday Night Raw. God, goodness gracious! If SmackDown did not exist, I would have just quit wrestling right there.
But when Cena put AJ Styles over, he didn't bury him the next week or something like that. It didn't work like that, you know. Like, and I was expecting that. I was actually expecting them to do what they did to Sting to AJ Styles, because AJ Styles was the TNA guy, and you know, like, Sting was the WCW guy. They wanted to finally put all debates to rest. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't do that with AJ Styles, which was surprising to me.
So like, I got a question. I'm not sure how to mention this dude's name, but what is y'all favorite match of all time? Anybody got a favorite match? If y'all got any?
Honestly, that is a lot. I mean,
I might have said
for the past. Oh yeah.
When they would double team each, like when they would tag team wrestling.
I like the Hulk Hogan.
That was like, I'm from the Hulk Hogan.
Tables, ladders, and chairs, man.
I'm gonna say something.
Sabu and Van Dam versus Hayabuchi, and I forgot the other guy's name.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Ghost. I was going to mention that.
Oh, but there's a lot more. But I'm going to say something new. I'm going to say something recent. AEW Stadium Stampede. I think that match was one of the most creative things they could have done in the pandemic. Great moments, great, exciting, just stuff there. And there's a lot of great matches I can name out from the top of my head. Michaels, Hart, Iron Man match. You can name, just Lesnar Angle WrestleMania. Benoit and Kurt Angle, the Ultimate Submission match at Backlash. That's one of my stuff there. But
how would I can top that?
Oh yeah, but yeah, that's
Kodo
Kabuchi,
and Samoan Joe. I love that match. Right.
That was great.
Oh yeah, there was some heck, and given some Samoan love, I could have easily named the best X Division match of all time, and there's been a lot of them. Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, and AJ Styles. That triple threat was great.
That's up there.
That is one of those. That was one of the things that made me
I
want to
compare
say,
that to like the days of the TLC, like TLC 2, and then of course you got going back to the Attitude Era, Austin and Bret Hart, and then my favorite has to be Taker versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 25.
I was just thinking that.
Only because
that was good.
Only
Yeah, that was a good
because I was there live, so I'm biased. You have to forgive me.
Better than the Dudleys. Better than the Dudleys versus Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys.
That's
also
music.
Damn.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. You know what? I'm gonna say this.
Which one was better? Which one was better? The SummerSlam match or the WrestleMania match?
The WrestleMania match. Come on.
Oh, but you know what? I'm gonna say something crazy.
The WrestleMania match.
I truly believe that if those TLCs could have made evented pay-per-views.
Yes.
Back in those days, they could have made evented those shows. And no one would have batted an eye, because I honestly think that tag division right there was right up there. If not, you could say a little bit higher, but maybe at the same. We can have a debate about that, which was higher at that point. But that tag team scene could have made evented. No one would have cared. They're like, they're right up there with the Rock and all that stuff.
Think about the tag teams they had. You had two.
All matches from Hell in the Cell.
Oh, you sure about that?
I don't know about that. We all like not all matches.
So you said Xavier Woods versus Bobby Lashley's one up there.
The big boss man in the Undertaker. Hell no.
Seth Rollins
the big boss man
is one of the worst I've ever seen.
Oh gosh, I remember watching that, just seeing that live, and then watching the entire social media just go turn on that stuff was just beautiful. I was like, and the funny thing is, WWE had a poll saying, how do you think this match is going to end? Is it going to be pin, submission, or disqualification? I'm like,
crazy.
Yep, we know what's going to happen.
That's
And
scary.
people were pissed off.
Hey, be accountable.
It was beautiful.
Hey, be accountable. Which out of the three Okada Omega matches was the best?
Well, so for me personally, and I may be in the minority, but I pretty much thought that the first one was better.
Yeah, I think
pretty
the
much
first
thought
one.
The
first one was.
I can't
like the
decide.
first one.
I can't decide.
They all were good, you know. They all were great.
That's like asking me to choose between the fucking Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret and Taker and Shawn. It's just like, man, they're both classics. I don't know. I guess the one that had me the most invested was the second one when they went into an hour draw.
Yeah, the draw. That was the one for me. That was the one for me because the way you just ended, you just wanted to see the match the next day. Like, all right, let's just end the trilogy tomorrow.
Exactly.
That
let you wanting the third one. You wanted the trilogy. You was like, come on, give me one more.
Right.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's a good question.
So like I just want to answer this question for Muslim. I don't know why you're asking me this. I think you're trolling me or you probably been snooping my Twitter. I don't know. But just to answer your question, Muslim, and I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what nobody says. The greatest female wrestler of all time is Manami Toyota. Don't debate me. Don't at me. That is Manami Toyota. Manami Toyota ain't the greatest. Manami Toyota. Stop it, D.Derell.
I put Alondra Blaze before I put
What said Alondra Blaze?
Are you serious?
Alondra Blaze. Alondra Blaze
was the best. What are you?
Man, you need to stop. Alondra Blaze.
Beulah McGillicuddy's the best female. She fought Bill Alfonso in the classic.
Are you talking about valet or wrestling? Are you talking about valet or wrestling?
She wrestled Bill Alfonso in a classic hardcore match. That joint was a
Bruh,
classic.
she is not better than Manami Toyota. Y'all need to look up Manami Toyota.
I'm trolling.
Manami
I'm
Toyota
trolling.
is
I'm
the
trolling.
queen. Ain't nobody touching her.
You be honest with you. You know who I really, my favorite wrestler, I ain't gonna say she the greatest, but I thought Jackie was ahead of her time.
Thank you.
Jackie was a man.
I like
Jackie was.
China.
You remember
China.
when Jackie first
Jack.
came? Remember when Jackie first came to
I don't remember
WCW when she
China.
was beating up everybody ass in the outside the ring? Man, that was impressive.
Jackie
man.
with the silicone titties. You talking about her?
I don't care, man.
Your dad skip it.
Hey, that matters, man.
Man,
That
she was
matters.
It didn't even
trash.
matter.
The way they look
Man,
matters.
Jackie was trash.
The way they, oh my, the
way they look, that matters. That matters.
misogyny.
Who's you gonna pick?
Y'all got me riled up
Ain't no
now.
fat
Y'all
chick
got me
gonna be
riled
the
up
best.
now. Y'all talking about Medusa and Jackie and shit. Beulah McGullough cut it, man. Y'all need to stop.
Man,
Hey, China was good.
I
Don't she got a
said
sex
leader.
tape?
China.
The Fabulous Moolah. I put the Fabulous Moolah up there.
Man,
I'm gonna
fuck
give China
Moolah,
the number
man.
one spot. She got a
Man,
sex
fuck
tape.
Moolah. Man, fuck
Moolah.
Moolah. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, she
Bruh,
got a sex tape. She got the number one spot.
Moolah,
come on, man.
bruh.
Who's on drugs,
Moolah fucking destroyed American women's wrestling because she want to pill up all them wrestlers, all them women's wrestlers, and she took all their money. Fuck her. Fuck that cunt.
Oh, come
I don't
on, man.
like that
I
bitch.
thought that was the name of the game.
Fuck that bitch. Man, fuck Moolah for real. Fuck Moolah. Fuck her.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that before it's over, I think Charlotte Flair gonna be the greatest female wrestler.
Oh my god, man.
In terms of accolades, sure. In terms of like,
She not better than Sasha Banks.
Thank
I
you.
bet
No,
that's
she
Sasha
not.
Banks.
She not.
You
She
all
not.
think, hold on, wait a minute, wait, stop. So
Sasha Banks?
Hold on, wait a minute. So
Dude,
you think
She
that
not
Sasha
better than
Banks?
Sasha Banks, bro.
You think that Sasha Banks is fundamentally more sound than Charlotte
Yes.
Flair?
Absolutely.
She's a much better performer. She's a much better performer. She's a much better performer.
How?
Charlotte Flair is riding off her daddy's career,
She
bro.
can
You
wrestle.
think they would be feeding her that?
That's not true.
Y'all don't think Charlotte
Listen,
Flair can wrestle?
She
I think
can.
she could wrestle, but I think Sasha Banks is head and shoulders better than her, bro.
I don't know.
And I think
never was
she would have had a
impressed with
better
Sasha Banks.
career, man.
Well, D.Derell's gonna be right because it's all scripted. They're gonna make her the best.
Like they trying to make John Cena the best? Probably.
Right.
John Cena would never be the best.
It's crazy how John Cena came into the game. Remember, wasn't he like a rapper or some shit?
No.
Yeah, bro.
They gave him that
One
little.
man in the history
Yeah, that culture
of
wrestling.
wrestling, bro, that can fuck with John Cena and Hulk Hogan.
They gave him that
All right,
little.
I'm gonna drop my top three and then I'm gonna get out of here, man.
Okay.
Yeah, this was dope though. This was dope, and also, I also think that this day and age with the social media stuff, there's no way that the rappers back then could have kept up with all this shit either. That's going on, man, with the cameras everywhere. Like you can't even freaking breathe, bro. So that's another thing that you could have brought to the table. But Ultimate Warrior. So I've been watching wrestling when I was, wrestling. My highlights of wrestling was when I was younger.
Warrior.
I know that's horrible. I know.
Ultimate
But that's when I
Warrior.
was. That's when I was young, man. Ultimate
What the
Warrior was
hell's
crazy.
wrong with
shaking-
Ultimate Warrior? Stop
Oh
that
yeah,
shit.
thank you.
He
Thank
couldn't
you.
wrestle.
Yeah.
That's what's wrong with him.
Okay, he might have sucked.
Three
He was
minutes.
good.
Y'all
He was
some crackheads
You gotta
for real.
remember, again,
Y'all
back
some
then it didn't
crackheads.
matter if you could wrestle or not. It was about how you could appeal to the masses with your
Yeah,
character.
Right, and I was like, what?
Exactly.
I was in like third grade when he was like doing his thing. So it was like, yo, I like this dude shaking the ropes and shit, coming in all messed up, and then
He
Right.
couldn't
It was
carry
crazy.
Macho Man. He couldn't
Steroid.
carry
He
Macho
beat up
Man.
steroid. He's beat up steroid using Hulk Hogan.
Damn.
So the
Man,
Ultimate
listen.
Warrior. I like the Legion of Doom. They were dope. And my third one was who was it? Ultimate Warrior, Legion of Doom, and my third one
Eddie
was
Guerrero.
I can't even remember. No, Superfly.
Macho Man?
Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Ooh.
Superfly Jimmy Snuka. I liked it. I don't know, man. The way he would do the little things and jump off the rope and shit. I don't know, man.
All I know is Snooker did it. I know that.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Black
He
woman.
did.
So that's my
Hey.
three, man. I'm gonna get up off this,
Shouts
man.
out. Shouts
Shout
out
out
to Jimmy Snooker.
All right, binary.
Yeah. All right, D.Derell. Appreciate
Hey,
you,
man.
man. Alex,
All right,
great
man.
to-
Appreciate the
All right.
support, brother.
Peace.
All right,
Yo,
binary.
I'm gonna say this. Be accountable, man. I actually would have. I had so much other stuff I wanted to say. I was like, man, I wish this could have went 5 rounds. I would have enjoyed that. Like I had like I felt like it ended too quickly. But I understand that's the format. But it was great. I really, really enjoyed the debate.
Well, I got my favorite. I got my new favorite. Well, I've been having my new favorite wrestler is Roman Reigns.
Roman
Reigns.
He is.
I like
Hey, don't hate on Roman.
Fuck y'all. I like that guy. Fuck y'all.
Roman is on fire right now. He is killing
Fuck
it.
y'all. I like. Thank you.
They pushed him enough.
I didn't even name my 3 though.
It took him 5 years to push him enough to get to this point.
He got
I
cancer.
agree.
Right?
I agree.
Did Daniel Bryan go to AEW?
It's
Yes.
rumored.
Rumors.
You know what? No, I guarantee you that's probably not going to happen. And it's probably some swerve. I'm betting it's going to be Braun Strowman that shows up at All Out and just piss
No, bro, man, don't say that. Don't say that.
You trying to troll us? Be quiet.
Oh, come on.
You trolling,
No,
dude.
but
Man,
you know what?
trolling.
But you know what? You're right. I don't want Braun Strowman in AEW. I want him in Ring of Honor so he can win the Pure Championship and hold up for a year.
Man, stop trolling, bro.
You gonna get you kicked
stop
out, man.
trolling, man. You talking about Braun Strowman in Ring of Honor, man? Don't nobody want to see that. Man, you trolling, bro. But
you just man, just but honestly, if y'all talk about my favorite wrestlers, so honestly, it has to be to me Eddie Guerrero.
Thank you,
Kurt Angle.
Nah,
and the last one is I'm gonna say
Kurt Angle's
right
actually
now,
real.
Yeah, he is. I'm not gonna say. I'm gonna say someone who I'm liking right now, who has been around for forever, is Sting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Wow.
Sting, yeah, I would put Sting up there.
Now,
That's a good
colorful Sting, black and white Sting, black and red Sting, or the Snowfall Sting.
Joker
No love
Sting.
for the Joker Sting. No love for him.
Yeah.
Joker Sting. I give you Joker Sting. I give you Joker Sting.
Yeah, Joker
I'm
Sting,
surprised
man.
they didn't have that. That would have made his WWE Sting a little bit better if they just leaned more into the Joker Sting.
No, I think
It would have made the Triple H squash at least a little bit more fun.
I'm sorry. You can't save that run for Sting in WWE. It was done the moment he came in.
Yeah, they screwed that thing up when they had the NWO came out to save him. I'm like, what?
Don't bring it up. Oh, that was so bad.
The only way
I
that
don't
could
mind him
work
being
if it
in
was
black and
if
red.
it
I don't
was
mind him. I just don't
He
want him
wasn't
talking.
He wasn't supposed to fight Triple H. He's supposed to fight The Undertaker. That's the only reason why I wanted him to go to WWE. I didn't want to see him fight Triple H.
But he had that neck problem though.
Somehow that neck problem.
That was after. That was after.
That neck problem seems to be cured now.
Nah, he's 61 years old. I do not
But
want
yeah,
him
he's
wrestling.
doing moves. But yeah, he did some.
Sting can still wrestle though. He's not
double
too
or
bad.
nothing.
Yeah.
I'm
just saying he's asking for it.
If you look at that WrestleMania, right? That WrestleMania, they had Sting fight Triple H and they had The Undertaker fight Bray Wyatt. Now,
Why couldn't they just switch? They should have Bray Wyatt.
My thing is this: if you was going to have The Undertaker take on Bray Wyatt, The Undertaker was supposed to job to him and make him the new face of fear. They wound up having Bray Wyatt lose anyway. So what was the point of you doing that match?
Because
you should have had Sting versus
The Undertaker had to win. The Undertaker had to basically get his win back after Brock beat him. But that's what that pretty much,
21-1.
But they were selling us on the fact of, okay, The Undertaker could be passing the torch to Bray Wyatt as the new face of fear, and it never happened. So my point is, why even book that match? Book it with Sting.
You can say that with most,
and have Sting would have lost to The Undertaker, and that would have been a big win for The Undertaker right there at the losing.
and then later have this match with Triple H, and then have him beat Triple H, and then have him in line for fight Seth Rollins. It makes more sense since I still have no idea how Sting got #1 contendership, and even better, he had John Cena hit him like with 2 AAs,
beat him,
and then still couldn't beat the man. I am still
right. That makes Sting look weak. Like yo, Seth Rollins just got his ass whipped earlier today, and he miraculously come back and beat the legendary Sting. What the fuck?
It was the Lex Max.
What the fuck?
Just, I don't know. But anyway, I got to head out. It was great talking to everybody here. It's just great debate. Alyx and D.Derell, great stuff. LV, you know, man, thanks for letting me be a judge, man. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
See you, man.
No doubt, bro.
Well, anyway, and you know what? Before I go, Braun Strowman for Pre-Ar Championship. Peace.
Get the fuck out of here.
Man, stop. But yeah, man, that's my day one though, man. Duke CT, man. Like y'all already saw how he called me LV, man. We go way back, and this same thing with Alyx. You know, he know me by LV. But yeah, man, like I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We about 2 hours. I know Slander God got his after party. I have no idea how his after party gonna go after all this wrestle talk. But before I head out, like I said, D.Derell and Alyx, again, I am completely humbled. I'm completely grateful. We smashed the ratings record by a country mile, 165. That's the new number. So I'm glad y'all two came in. So let me start with Ghost. Ghost, you got any last words?
Top three
Ghost, you
wrestlers: Macho Man, New Jack, and the franchise Shane Douglas. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we heard you.
Oh, you hear me now?
Yeah, we heard you.
Macho Man, Macho Man, New Jack, and the franchise. Top three of all time.
No doubt, man.
Hulk
Good
Hogan
stuff.
is a real big punk.
So let me go ahead to Conscious Energy. But before I get to Conscious Energy, everybody, if you guys are not aware, we won't be here next Saturday because, you know, we did 3 strikes and now we got to be out for a little bit, but we'll be back the following weekend with 3 new great debates. Conscious Energy is going to be in one of those in about 3 weeks, I think, against Skull Drag. So Conscious Energy, you got any last words for us?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I want to give some love to Rey Mysterio because I heard everybody talking, but nobody brought up Rey Mysterio, man. Rey Mysterio is probably one of the best underrated wrestlers ever. So Rey Mysterio, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and The Rock is my top 3. So I just want to say that. I want to thank Brother Be Accountable for allowing me on your platform. Peace and blessings. Keep doing your thing, and your channel's only gonna grow and get bigger. And I'm just grateful to be along for the ride. So peace and love to the family. I'm out. Congratulations, Brother D.Derell. Shout out to Stargate and for the debate coming up in a few weeks.
Peace, brother. Peace.
Can't wait, man. It's gonna be on Plamigam. I'm sorry. So it's gonna be a very interesting topic, man. I got some good points I want to make. So I hope to see the family there in a few weeks for that debate. So peace and love to Brother Be Accountable, man. Keep doing your thing. And I'm out, man.
All right, Conscious. We'll see you in a few weeks, brother.
All right, brother. Take care, man. D.Derell, the Godfather.
All right, brother.
All right. Man, like it's kind of weird though. Like we was able to have three Houston dudes on the same panel: D.Derell, Alyx, and Conscious Energy.
Right.
Small world.
Oh, okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Small world.
I used to stay in Acres home at one point in time.
Really?
All right.
I promise you, that's the hood, right, Darrell?
Yeah, it sure is.
Oh man.
That's the north side.
So let's go ahead to We Unlock, which by the way, We Unlock is in Vegas, which by the way is the home of this year's SummerSlam. So We Unlock,
Yes,
you got any
sir.
last words for us?
Yeah, my 3 favorite wrestlers, of course, Sting, all time great, Rock, and of course, like I said, Roman Reigns. Y'all kiss my ass.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Peace.
Roman, man. See ya.
All right, so let's
That
get
was
to
funny.
Stargate. What's going on, Stargate? You got any last words for us?
I just would like to thank the fellas for letting a female come on, give her very little bit 2 cents in this situation. So I just wanted to say that Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, and Andre the Giant were my favorites. So
Old school. Let's go.
Old school. Well, I'm 45, so
She don't look 45 either.
but I don't look. So, but thank you, Be Accountable. I appreciate that. So, I wanted to also. What what does a work mean? What does it mean?
Scripted, predetermined.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, fellas. Thank you for letting me up. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's night.
Right.
See you later.
Yeah. So let's go ahead to D.Derell. Yo, D.Derell, man, you know, like you've always been a big supporter of mine, bro. You got any last words for us?
Yeah, man. I want to say that I'm definitely still excited, man. Like I said, man, I wish it could have went a little because it was so much, man. Because wrestling has been a hobby of mine for decades. I remember I watched my first Mid-South wrestling with Junkyard Dog and Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I was like 4 years old. I still remember that like yesterday. And it was in a high school gym. And I was hooked in wrestling ever since. So my top 3 wrestlers, number 1, of course, the greatest of all time, Ric Flair. Number 2, I'm going to go with Sting. And number 3, I like Mr. Perfect. I think Mr. Perfect is probably probably the most underrated wrestler. As far as not even winning the heavyweight championship, I think Mr. Perfect was a legend. So those are my top 3. Other than that, man, it's been a pleasure, JustAlyx, man. I've been actually watching you, man. I watch your show. I used to love to see your reaction of pay-per-views and so on, like 5-6 years ago. I remember one time, I remember, man, when I really subscribed to you was when you talked about, you was hard on Ric Flair about some matches that he did. And I remember you said this. You said if you watch one, you watch them all. And I was
shit. I mean, it's true though. Not saying they're bad matches, but come on now. It's true.
When you did that, man, you had me cracking up. And so I subscribed, man. I've been watching as far as YouTube subscribers doing wrestling for probably about maybe 8-9 years for the most part. And I definitely subscribe. I definitely enjoy watching your content. I'm still subscribed. But other than that, man, this was probably the most fun debate I've had. Appreciate you for coming through. I know this is outside of your sector. You come into a different sector. And for me, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. Because I know that your knowledge, because I've listened to you for you. I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna be prepared for this, but I'm just gonna give it the best shot I can. So, but appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for coming.
You were a great debater. And let me just say this too before you go. I like your list of wrestlers. Can I ask you about one name that I'm actually surprised you didn't mention based off the people you said?
Okay.
What about Bret Hart?
I'm gonna say this, man.
Because you chose a lot of ring generals. You said
yes, I did. The reason I'm gonna tell you why I didn't put Bret Hart. No, the thing about it, Bret Hart's. I think to say that he was such a ring general, when you really look at Bret Hart, his character development was not the best.
Right. Okay.
And the thing about it is, when you listen to Bret Hart, particularly now that he's retired and he reflects on stuff, I think that Bret Hart really thinks that personality development and character development is not that important. I think he thinks the average fan, and the thing about, he's not looking at it from the perspective of the typical fan or whomever comes. They want to see all of that as the totality of a wrestler's, wrestling skills, personality, mic skills. And I think that he focused too much on the in-ring skills, even though he had a decent look. But the personality development, I think, is what hurt Bret Hart. People really like Bret Hart, not just because he was a good wrestler, but because they basically promoted him as being this wholesome guy, this Canadian that was fair and family values but really when you really look at it from the totality of his, and I remember watching Bret Hart when he was wrestling for his dad's organization before he even went to WWE. So, but I'd never seen the growth in his character development. To me, to be honest with you, the best I ever thought he did character development wise was against Stone Cold.
Right.
That's my opinion, because he kind of went out of his comfort zone and said some things he probably wouldn't say.
But that was during the time he was also feuding with Shawn Michaels, and he was like, doing the whole I'm a good guy in Canada, but also a bad guy in America.
Yeah,
and that was perhaps his peak character.
Exactly.
You're right.
That was the only time he really had any real complexity to his to his character, and he didn't draw. The bottom line, Bret Hart didn't draw like he should have drew.
You're right.
And I'm sorry, that counts, man. When you and he didn't really draw, and he don't get it. And to be honest with you, if you ask him that, he would take offense. But it's the facts. So, but I would say Bret Hart would be in my top 5 or 6, but I wouldn't put him top 3. No.
That's fair enough. I just had to ask you about that. That's a really good list. Also, D.Derell, real quickly, I do want to thank you personally for giving me this debate, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little cocky coming in. I'm like, oh, I got this man.
You didn't know how you didn't know how the extent of my wrestling knowledge. That's what it was.
I underestimated your extent. I underestimated that, but I also underestimated your debating skills. Like,
okay.
When it comes to a debate, there's more to it than just presenting facts and giving a side. Right. I also had to adapt to the opponent, and I think I stuck too much to the script. Like, okay, I'm gonna say this, and then move forward. But you were just like, nope, I'm gonna debate this kid. I'm gonna look you in the face. I'm gonna take his points and I'm gonna throw it back at him. And you did a very good job, and I learned a lot from you.
Yeah, so, appreciate it. Yeah.
Just know, if LV comes to me and he's all like, you want to do another one, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna be ready for round 2. Just know that.
I tell you what, if people want to see it, we can make it happen in about, let's say, a month or so. We can kind of spread it out. We don't want to give too much in a short period of time, but if everybody would like it and they feel that, hey, this is something I want to see, hey, let's give the people what they want.
You know what, man? We already broke the record once. Let's do it again.
Hey, let's do it. I'm good with that. So be accountable. It's up to you, baby.
LV, you in charge. You let us know how you want to do it.
Yeah, man. Like, I'll pretty much give y'all content, and we'll go ahead and discuss any particular topics that we want to talk about. And as you can see, there's people already saying that they want to see a round 2 anyway. I mean, shit, there was 165 people in here tonight. The previous record was 121, and basically the record was broken during the opening statement. So yeah, man. So that pretty much tells you that people want to see it. But yeah, man. I'll pretty much contact y'all. We'll discuss any particular topics y'all want to do, and then we'll go ahead and set that up.
Cool. Let's make it happen, brother.
Round 2 it is.
All right, guys. Y'all take care. You have a great night.
See you later, man.
All right, so get down to Alyx, bro, man. You was the star of the show, star of the night. It was great doing business with you. It was great catching up with you. Like, I know it's been a very long time since the last time that we interacted. But when I was doing this Step in the Ring thing, especially after I did 10 events, I was saying to myself, okay, this may be the time for me to start to branch out and do some other topics. And I was kind of nervous going to the wrestling sector, trying to introduce people to this format. But I was like, you know what? Screw it. So I pretty much made that leap, asked you, you was all for it. You went the extra mile to promote it. That, again, I was not expecting. But yeah, man, like, it was like great doing business with you, bro.
Man, and it was a pleasure to do this because, again, this is something outside my comfort zone. And it was something also to interact with other people from different sectors, which was anything but fucking great for me because I'm doing anything I can to help improve the community, to spread positivity, to help people realize that, wrestling is for everybody. And I'm happy that you gave me this opportunity because you could have gone to anybody. Seriously, there are so many people who are better at this, who have a bigger audience, probably would have given you an even bigger record than you got today. But you came to me. So the best I could have done, promoted all those things that I did beforehand, man, it was just me showing my appreciation for you choosing me. And hopefully, if God will it, we can do it again. Who knows?
Right, man, no doubt. So you got any last words before I wrap it up?
I guess I could tell you my top favorite wrestlers, I suppose. I guess for me, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, of course, The Rock, and The Undertaker, top 3. Hogan was up there until he had his incident. So he fell down a little bit. Sorry, Hulk.
Yeah.
And what hurts him is he didn't even apologize for it, which is
hell no, that fucker.
You know, and I had to keep him in the top 10 because there would be no wrestling without Hogan. So I had to give him some respect, but I can't give him top 3 after what happened. And until he apologizes and shows growth, that's what he's going to be. In terms of the channel, be accountable. This is only the beginning. It's going to get better. It's going to go higher. And hopefully so one day you be the one hosting like the big debates here on YouTube. That's what I hope for you. That's what I manifest for you. And dude, other than that, it was a great night. I had a blast. Thank you for inviting me. Be sure you guys check me out. JustAlyx. I have a Twitter, JustAlyx Central. Give me a follow on Instagram, ahicks1717. Everything is on my channel in the description box. So check me out, guys. And thank you for inviting me, LV.
All right, no doubt, bro. I appreciate it.
See you later.
All right. But yeah, guys, it's like I said, JustAlyx's link to his YouTube channel is in the description. Also, his PayPal is also in the description. For those y'all who are coming in late, go ahead and give that guy a donation, because again, man, the platform that he had, and for him to go out of his way to promote this debate and to bring all of these people in here to have the type of synergy of the Umar sector mixed with the pro wrestling sector was definitely a big deal. Definitely a big deal. And it gave a lot of exposure to a lot of people. You know, gave some exposure for Nate the Great. There's a reason why I put Nate the Great and Propane very hard with this debate. Same thing with Binary. Same thing with a lot of other people. So this was a great night, a very historic night. And I appreciate everybody for coming in. Everybody. So it's like I said, guys, we will not be back next Saturday. 3 strikes, take a break, but we will be back the following Saturday. We will start off with Step in the Rings, My Family's Watching, with Ghost and Shock and Raw. That should be great. Then we're going to follow up with What Kind of Man with Skull Drag and Conscious Energy. And then we're going to end off this 3 strikes with Thailand. What they do in Thailand with none other than Slander God against Stephen Catano. So go ahead and check those out. I thank everybody for coming in. I'm completely grateful, thankful, humbled, everything. And as always, guys, we will see y'all next time.